Crash Bandicoot, the first video game I ever played. No joke, Crash Bandicoot, the first one, was in fact the first video game I ever played in my life. I played it when I was about 3 years old. My family only had a PS1. And boy, do memories jump back into my brain enough for me to do a full review on Crash Bandicoot. With that said, welcome to Let's Tackle, a show where I review anything. Movies, video games, heck, every once in a while I'll review a YouTube video, which I'll talk about eventually. But for now, we're here to talk about Crash Bandicoot, which, as I said before, is the first video game I ever played. Back in 1996, Sony wanted a new video game series that would appeal to a much younger audience, since they had some games that focused much more on older kids. And since Nintendo had Mario and Sega had Sonic, developers decided to come in contact with game developers Naughty Dog to create Crash Bandicoot. But here's the question: does Crash Bandicoot still hold up today? Well, let's dive right in and find out. The story starts off with the antagonist, Dr. Neo Cortex, planning to turn harmless animals into mutant creatures. One of his subjects, a bandicoot named Crash, is put into the Evolvo array, but turns out to be a failed experiment. Crash manages to escape, but soon realizes that his girlfriend Torna is still held captive. So now Crash must embark on a journey to save his girlfriend and stop Cortex from taking over the world with his mutant creatures. Crash Bandicoot was one of the first 3D platformers ever made at that time, one of the other ones being Super Mario 64 and The gameplay in Crash Bandicoot is very simple. You travel through paths to reach the end of the level while avoiding enemies and breaking boxes. Crash controls reasonably well, and he has his standard jumps and spin attacks that you will need to complete the game. Controls are tight, but with the problem that being Crash's jumps. They can be a bit slippery, and times you will find yourself falling up the stage a bit, though it isn't much of a big issue. Enemies are found all over each stage. Some require you to jump on their heads, or by using a simple spin attack to knock them away. There's also boxes to be found at each stage, each containing a reward. Some boxes include Wumpa Fruit. Collecting 100 fruit, by the way, will grant you an extra life. Extra lives are also found in these boxes, as well as checkpoint boxes, TNT boxes, and so on and so forth. In this game, Crash has no health bar, which means that one hit will instantly kill you upon impact. However, in some boxes there are these Aku Aku masks, which I can never understand what they say after you collect them. What have I got? The designs in the game are really good too, even to this day. Each level is different. Sometimes you're in the jungle, sometimes you're in a swamp, sometimes you're in the, sky, sometimes you're in the ruins, sometimes you're in a castle, and so on and so forth. They suit the design of each level fine, and some have some pretty good lighting effects. What also sticks in is the music. It sounds great. A lot of the tracks are very catchy, and I found myself repeating them various times. They actually sound like they came from people who were from tribes. This music is good. The bosses I don't remember too well, but most of them are pretty easy, at least in my opinion. They require you to do the same pattern over and over again. It becomes much more difficult. But to me, they just weren't that challenging. Well, except for Brio and Cortex, those guys are actually pretty damn challenging. The game, for the most part, sounds very simple, but becomes a struggle when you're on the hunt for these. Gems are one of the many collectibles in this game, which you can obtain if you break every box in a stage. This is when the game becomes a stressful time. If you're on the hunt for these gems, there are specific levels that require a specific colored gem that activate as little platforms that you can take to hidden areas to break more boxes. This isn't too much of a problem since the levels aren't too long, but it can still become pretty tedious. Breaking boxes sounds simple enough, but trust me, it's not as easy as you think. You see these checkpoint boxes? Yeah, they save your current progress in the level, but here's the thing. They never save the amount of boxes that you break. Therefore, if you die after hitting a checkpoint, you'll have to exit the level and go back and give it another shot. If you manage to travel back and break all the boxes before, it becomes a lot more difficult because the camera doesn't actually turn around the way you're going. But on top of that, even if you die after hitting a checkpoint and go back to break the boxes that you broke before, the game actually doesn't take you to the results screen, but instead to the level select, which means you can't afford to die at all in the level after hitting a checkpoint. There's also some bonus levels that require you to collect a simple number of heads. If you collect Torna, they'll take you to a secret area. Here's the thing though, this is the only way to save the game. I'm not joking here, this is the only way to save the game. Just collecting simple ahead icons, and that's it. Trust me, it's stressful. But on top of that, there's also 2 extra bonus levels that will give you a key in which you use to get to other levels, which becomes even more stressful. Is it worth completing the game 100%? I'd say probably not, because all it gives you is this little bonus ending serving as an epilogue, which I won't show off because I don't want to spoil anything. But what's also interesting to point out is that you can achieve this bonus ending before the final battle with Cortex. The main problem is that both the endings are pretty much the same, with Crash saving Torna, and that's it. And that was Crash Bandicoot. On the whole though, is it a good game? Yes, it is a good game. Is it the best Crash game? No. Is it the best PS1 game? No. But it's still a lot of fun to play, and chances are you'll be playing this game over and over again. If you want to check this game out, you can download a digital version of the game on PSN, which I think is a lot more easy than trying to find an actual copy of the game, since it's actually quite rare nowadays. On the whole though, I'm gonna give Crash Bandicoot a score of 7 out of 10 and a rating of good. It is a good game. Not the best Crash game, but it's still worth checking out. Don't worry guys, I will review Crash Bandicoot 2 when I get around to it, but I want to make it better variety. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you next time.